Hi, so in this video I'm going to do a review of my laptop Tuxedo Stellaris 16 Generation 5, and a few people have asked me to do this review at this point, some people on Reddit and some people on my YouTube channel, and I totally understand it because when I was looking for a Linux laptop to purchase, like when Tuxedo Stellaris Generation 5 came out, it was very difficult to find any information on this laptop in particular, and so I get that people want someone to talk about this actual laptop and not like its predecessor or a similar one from Tuxedo Computers. So I'm gonna try to do this in this video. But I also wanted to give you kind of some background first as to like how I kind of arrived at this decision to buy this laptop, so that you better understand where I'm coming from, and so perhaps that will kind of provide an appropriate context for this review, so that everything makes sense. So basically, the reason I wanted to purchase this laptop was because up until now I've been using a MacBook Air ever since I believe 2016, and it's a very small laptop. It's an 11-inch MacBook Air from 2015. And so it has 4 gigs of RAM and a 1.6 gigahertz Intel Core i5 processor. So, as time went by, this became more and more of a kind of, it basically wasn't powerful enough to do certain things like video editing, and playing any games was pretty much out of the question, except for like the ones that don't demand a lot of computing power and graphics card resources. So yeah, that was the situation up until now, and basically, but what I was doing while I was still using that laptop, which like for the most part actually was working fine, and like I was able to kind of still edit videos, even like pretty, like complicated ones like 4K video as well, with like but it just took a long time and it wasn't very efficient. And so like basically at some point I realized that like, okay, like I will have to buy a new laptop pretty soon, because I started getting things like Mac OS that I'm running on that laptop is an old one as well, because I don't want to upgrade so that it doesn't slow down even more. I'm running Mojave at this point, and like then like a lot of apps have already begun dropping support for Mojave, and then there's this issue that so like at this point I don't really want to use Mac OS anymore, because I've really kind of I really came to appreciate open source software, and I don't really want to use Mac OS anymore, because of its limitations, when it comes to just like it being a proprietary system, and like that you can't customize the OS and so on. So that's the background basically for this. Let's see. So yeah, I realized that I had to buy a new laptop, and my idea was that I will buy a very powerful laptop that is made for Linux, and I will start learning Linux on it like properly, even though like I already played around with Linux in VMs on my Mac. So like I already knew how it worked, and I've been using like terminal, which is a large part of using Linux. You have to like know your way around the terminal. And so like I've been using the terminal on my Mac for that reason as well, just prepare myself for that transition. And so yeah, I learned Bash and everything, so like I'm very comfortable with the terminal at this point. And that way I kind of prepared myself for this event of buying a new Linux laptop. And so I kind of thought, my idea was like when I buy this laptop, it'll have to be something very powerful, because otherwise it's just gonna last me only a few years, and then I'll run into more problems when I will kind of realize, well, I want to do this more complicated thing and I can't because my computer isn't powerful enough. So I figured I should find something that is as powerful as possible, pretty much, and just like and that it would be made for Linux. Those were really my two requirements. And basically I went on YouTube, started researching this stuff. One channel that was provided probably most of the information for me was this channel, Learn Linux TV, which I'm sure you heard about. It's pretty popular channel. And so I actually have this video open right now for Tuxedo Stellaris 15. So it's the previous generation of the laptop that I have now. It's 15 for 15-inch, but it also was like 15 Gen 4, and then there was also Stellaris 17 Gen 4, and now it's this one, Stellaris 16 Generation 5, and there's also Stellaris 17, I believe, now as well. But yeah, so basically I watched quite a few videos from like this channel. He has a playlist over here where you can just like kind of get let me see, should probably found this. I think I have a bookmark for it. Hardware, yeah, here it is. So there's a playlist on his channel called Hardware Reviews, and basically here you can even see like I watched a lot of the videos from this playlist to just like get an idea of what was available and what companies were making laptops for Linux. And so yeah, basically I kind of settled on Tuxedo Computers because it just like kind of overall made most sense, and like I looked at what was being offered, and I liked quite a lot about what they have. Like you can customize things quite a bit. Like if you just like scroll down on this page all the way down here, I already have my configuration here at this moment. So like this is the specs that I chose, but you can select like different different configurations for like graphics card, plus what kind of keyboard you want, and like the amount of RAM that you want, and SSDs, and different keyboard layouts. So you can have like a layout for like a specific language if you're looking for that. Then you can even apparently have Windows installed on it, which I wasn't interested in, but it's available. Then yeah, you can order a power supply that is appropriate for your for where you are in the world. So yeah, you can also like have an option to have it with a custom logo or without a logo. I actually chose it without a logo because that's my kind of preferred way. I'd rather it be just like a plain thing without anything kind of engraved on it. So yeah, basically, let me see. So I basically liked what they had to offer, and I settled on. At first, I thought I would buy actually this laptop, Tuxedo Stellaris 15, But kind of as I was kind of preparing for purchasing it, time went by, and this new model came out, and I kind of figured that well, I better buy a newer model. But then there wasn't any reviews of this newer model, and so like a few kind of questions arose out of that, which I will talk about in this video. So basically, what I recommend is just like watching this video. A lot of information in this video is still relevant for this laptop as well, because it's kind of this, it goes in like, it'll give you a good idea about the OS, for example, like what it's like, even though it has been upgraded since then, but still, like, you'll get a feel for it. Because like that's also one thing that I won't be able to do in this video, is just like to show you the built-in OS, because I have already uninstalled it, and I installed Debian on my system at this point. But I will say a few things about the OS that it came with, but kind of just from memory. So yeah, basically, do check out this video and potentially other videos from this playlist. I believe he has other videos about like Tuxedo's computers, like Polaris, for example, over here, and maybe even something else. So yeah, this is basically how I made my decision to purchase this laptop. I had to buy a powerful laptop made for Linux, and basically my plan was also to just be able to like pretty much build my own system from scratch. I wasn't really interested in like what OS it came with. I wanted to pretty much run Debian on it right from the start, and that's what I'm doing right now. And so yeah, basically I did that, and then I settled on this laptop, and then I bought it. So like most information that I got about it was from this video and from this playlist, and also like I asked a few questions about the laptop via email to Tuxedo Computers directly. Like for example, I had a question about the keyboard and how loud the mechanical keyboard was, and so you can email them and they will try and help you out with like any questions you might have about the laptop, if you're you know, if you have, if there's something that is unclear and you'd like some clarification. So yeah, now I guess let me say a few things about Tuxedo OS to get that out of the way, because I probably won't be able to say a lot about it since I'm not running it anymore. But basically, Tuxedo OS is built upon Ubuntu, and it comes with a KDE desktop environment. And so basically, like, when it's meant to work out of the box, and for the most part it was doing that. It was working out of the box. I did run into a couple of kind of things that weren't quite working, but I don't know if they can be can be resolved. They probably can be resolved somehow. But I just, since I was planning to install Debian, I wasn't just investing my time into that. So overall, Tuxedo OS, like, if you just want a Linux distribution to start out with, and like so that everything is set up for you, Tuxedo OS is probably gonna do the trick. If you have any issues, a good thing to do is to go to reddit.com/r/Tuxedo Computers. So I'm not sure if I recorded my myself showing the Reddit page, but basically you can go to this subreddit Tuxedo Computers, and you can ask your questions here, and you can post your questions, and people from both the Tuxedo team and just like other users can help you out. And I have posted a few things here myself, and for example, here's one of my threads where I asked about how to configure the graphics card when I installed Debian on my laptop. But basically, yeah, like if you have any questions that you'd like other people who have used Tuxedo's laptops to answer, or potentially even someone from Tuxedo team to answer, you can use Reddit, or you can email the company directly. So those would be kind of the ways that I would suggest you address any questions you might have, because that's kind of, with Linux you have to do a lot of things yourself, and like it just kind of, you have to put in like that effort to like, okay, if I don't know how to sort something out, like if googling the issue doesn't work, then you have to post things like questions of your own. Make sure you just kind of describe the issue as well as you can, and you'll, like, chances are you will get things resolved. And so yeah, that's how it goes with Linux. You have to just it's your system, you are building it, you are like responsible for its operation, and so just go ahead and ask your questions to the community or to the company that made the laptop, and you should be good. So yeah, there's that. Now, Tuxedo OS, what else can I say about it? So yeah, for the most part, everything worked out of the box. One issue that I did run into that was just kind of standing in the way of things a little bit is when I was recording videos on it with OBS. I had this issue with audio where my computer, my microphone sound would just like cut off, pretty much like all audio actually, from all microphones that were being recorded by OBS. That's like my kind of main mic that is higher quality, and also like I always recorded like a backup track with like a built-in microphone. And so like all of those would just like have like glitches, and like audio would cut off for a few, I don't know, like for a few moments, and then I would have like this choppy audio in some parts of the videos I recorded. And if you watch about the like the first 10 or so videos from the series that I have on my channel called Setting Up Debian, you will probably come across those glitches, and you'll see what it was. Like, I'm not sure, again, like I haven't tried really resolving it, because I was planning to very soon wipe that system and install a new OS on it. So I didn't work on it. There probably something can be done perhaps to fix it, but I don't know what it is. But that is something that I didn't encounter, did come across, and it did not work out of the box. There were also some other weird things that, like for example, like when I was using VirtualBox to run my VM to test Debian before I like wipe the system, like I would like open a menu, for example, and like that menu would appear all the way on the other side of the screen for some reason, like, and yeah, like that's something kind of not working, like maybe with the desktop environment or with the Tuxedo OS itself, that gives rise to that kind of weird glitch. So I encountered that. You might also come across that in those videos that I made about setting up Debian while I was experimenting in a VM, and I might like say like, hey, like I have this menu appearing on like menu glitch, and so you don't see it, but like that's what it says. And So yeah, that's something that I came across, and like this, like right now, I should say that like I have installed Debian, and none of those issues are present. My audio is recording perfectly, and you know, no menu glitches like that are present. So it kind of makes sense because it's a completely different system, but perhaps not with audio. Like it could be something, uh, you know, maybe beyond the OS itself, but um, it's working fine. Like those audio glitches are no longer present, and so yeah, and those you know that menu thing went away as well, since like it's a completely different OS. That makes sense that it would be, if there would be issues, it would be different issues, not the same ones. But that's what I encountered on Tuxedo OS. Um, so yeah, I mean, those are pretty much the most, like, I guess, like the two major um, things that did kind of stand out to me that weren't working. Uh, for the rest of it, um, there wasn't anything that big. So I guess that's as much as I can say about Tuxedo OS at this point. I mean, um, there isn't really any point in me trying to kind of elaborate on it even more, because like yeah, it's an Ubuntu-based distro, and yeah, it comes with a KDE desktop, and that's what it is. Like again, like if you haven't seen this video, go ahead and check it out. It'll give you a few more kind of a better idea of what it's like to run Tuxedo OS, because he shows you what Tuxedo OS actually has. Okay, so now let's talk about the hardware a little bit, and I started recording with my phone here so that I can show you the laptop while I talk about kind of the experience of interacting with the laptop physically. So just like to get one small thing out of the way, when like in this review by Learn Linux TV, he talks about like the touchpad making weird noises when like when you tap it. Basically, you would like touch it, and when you like release, like move your finger away from it, it would just go like click click. And this is not here. Like on this laptop, everything is fine. Like you don't have any issues like that. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Touchpad is working just fine. One thing with the touchpad I would prefer was different. If it was, I would like it to be centered. But to be honest, like I don't really care. Like once you just kind of start using it, you just like, it's not standing in the way of doing things at all. It's just that like it would kind of make sense if it were just like centered, but like if it's not, you know, it's not a huge deal. I don't know why it would make sense for you to just like for the touchpad to be centered, like based on the kind of this main section of the keyboard. Like it's not like you would be sitting like to the left all the time, or maybe like it's because like your hands move downwards and like that's where they would naturally go. But like I don't know, like it doesn't really matter to me. But like touchpad is not centered, and that's how it is. But like I said, it's not a huge deal. So another kind of thing that I really appreciate that this laptop has is it has a matte screen. It's not a glossy screen, it's a matte screen. And I mean, it should be pretty obvious to anyone who like I don't know, like it should be pretty obvious that matte screens are better because they don't like give off that like weird reflection, like so that if you have, I don't know, like a window behind you, for example, you don't see all of the stuff that is like that is just like uh, being reflected from that window. Like a lot of the time, if you have like a black background, it would be like looking like sitting in front of a mirror almost, and that's just like not doing anything. And there's no point in having the gloss on the screen. But you know, like for example, my MacBook Air, of course, has the glossy screen, and you know that's just really unfortunate that a lot of manufacturers choose to install those kinds of screens on their devices because they're just that gloss really does absolutely nothing except to except that it stands in the way of things when there are like reflections involved, and really just like there are always reflections involved because you know, like even if you sit in the dark room there will be light hitting you from the screen and then that will reflect on the screen. It's just like there's no reason to have a glossy screen, and the fact that Tuxedo's devices have matte screens makes total sense, and I really appreciate that they chose that. So I found that quite an important thing. So another thing that's kind of a bit of a prominent feature of this laptop. So like on this page they kind of advertise the mechanical keyboard, and so I want to say a few things about the mechanical keyboard. So let me see. I'll just open up like a text editor here. Zoom in a bit so we can see everything. So when I was buying this laptop, I was kind of a bit concerned about like if the keyboard wouldn't be too loud, like because I never had a mechanical keyboard before, and I did find some like a video on YouTube where someone was basically demonstrating how this keyboard sounded, but it was like a slightly different model of like a slightly different laptop, but also from Tuxedo, of course. But it had the same keyboard, and it's still pretty hard to judge from a video like if it would be loud or not for you. But basically, my experience with it was that it has a very good tactile feedback, and that is it's really really nice to type on. As far as the noise goes, sometimes it feels like it might be loud, especially if you're sitting like in a very quiet environment. Maybe if it's nighttime or something, or like if it's early morning and maybe someone's still like asleep, and you don't want to like bother them, then it might be a bit loud in those cases. But then like, I mean, I use an external keyboard here like all the time, and you know, this one doesn't have mechanical switches, and it's much quieter, so like you can always use something like that in those situations. But so I chose mechanical keyboard because, well, I wanted to try it, and I figured it wouldn't be that loud, and it's really not. So I'm just gonna like show you, try to record a little sound sample of like how it sounds, so that you can get an idea. So hopefully that was kind of that gave you some an idea of how the keyboard sounds. But like as far as the volume, you know, it's just like really, I think, impossible to convey that in a video. You just have to physically be with a computer in a room, and you can only then can you judge, you know, if it would be too loud for you or not. Like the tactile feedback is really good. Like it's just kind of, you know, when you pressed a key, you know, it's just like it's not like all this mushy feeling that you get from just like membrane keyboards. But like also one thing to note is that like not all keys have mechanical switches. Like numpad doesn't have it, so these are all membrane, as well as the function keys. So all of this entire top row is membrane, but the rest of the keyboard, so basically this area, including the arrow keys, this is all mechanical. So that's how it is. And it's like explained on their website as well. If you like go to this page, you can read more about it, and it's probably a good idea to do so that it gives you a clue. And it also explains somewhere in here, they explained that yeah, here it says that the number pad and the function key row are equipped with much quieter but similarly solid membrane keys due to the fact that Cherry MX switches are not available for those smaller key sizes. So that kind of that's the explanation that is given as to why some keys have mechanical switches and some don't. It's a good keyboard, like that's all what I can say, and hopefully that little sample gave you an idea about what it's like to type on it. Now, perhaps there is also a few things that could be said about the screen. So, like, the screen is let me close this. Has the maximum resolution of 2560 by 1600, and it has the maximum refresh rate of 240 hertz. So these are pretty good specs, and you know, it looks really good. One thing about it to know about it is that things tend to look very small on it, so you might have to, you know, scale your windows appropriately, and potentially you could also use like scaling functionality of either your desktop environment, or like if you have something like I have, which is just basically I only have a window manager. I don't have a desktop environment. You can also use Xrender to scale your display, and so like right now it's like scale 1, but you could also change it to something else like 0.5, for example, and that would adjust like the scaling, and it's also a good idea to yeah, you should also use this option filter by linear to smooth out the appearance of like the scaled like when the display is scaled, so that there are no like weird edges or anything. So like, let me see, can I run it right now without anything crashing? Probably should be okay. Okay, let's do it. Let's scale it. So right now it's scaled basically to like twice the size, but it's still running on like the same resolution. It's just that like it's scaled, so it looks a little bit kind of blurry around the edges, but when you do this, but you know, like if you are if it's really hard to look at very small fonts on your display, this is something that you can play around with and figure out you know, what would work for you. But so yeah, this is how you can scale your display. But like if you have something like KDE, a desktop environment, or like GNOME or anything else, just like go into the settings and find the scaling setting there and use that. Probably that will be like a better idea if you're using a desktop environment. So like to summarize, it's a good display. It has a very good specs, but things tend to look a bit small on it. So you might have to, you know, adjust the scaling to compensate for that. But otherwise, it's really good. So one other thing to mention about the keyboard is its backlight, and basically you can change the color of the backlight from Tuxedo Control Center. This is actually something that, perhaps like as a small digression here, Tuxedo Control Center, in here you can customize different power management profiles. And so I actually haven't tested this on Debian yet, but like if you run Tuxedo OS, all of this will definitely work, and you can kind of customize these power management profiles so that you can like manage your battery life basically if you need to do that. So yeah, that's something that is worth mentioning as well. But back to the keyboard. So over here in Tuxedo Control Center, there is this keyboard backlight section, and you can change the backlight of the keyboard here. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna just like increase the brightness here, and as you can see, the keyboard is now lit up. And I can also change the color here, and the color is changing over there too. And so yeah, that's something that you can do, sort of like an interesting thing. I personally don't really like use a backlight on the keyboard very much, so I usually keep it off. But it is there, it is available, and it is kind of cool. So I thought it was worth mentioning as well. So I guess one more thing that I wanted to mention is like that the build quality is very good. It's very sturdy. I have absolutely no complaints about the build quality, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. It's just it's a very, very well built machine that doesn't feel like flimsy or anything like that at all. It's very nice, and yeah, build quality is very good. So all right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to record a bit of gameplay to demonstrate the graphics card capabilities of this laptop. So I'm gonna use FlightGear for this demonstration, and I'm going to record with OBS this time. So I already made a video where I was configuring my graphics card, where I did record a bit of FlightGear gameplay, but with my camera. So this time I'm going to use OBS. So if you want to see the same thing but recorded with a camera, you can watch that video, and I'll link to that in the description below. Okay, so let me set a few things up, and yeah, let's do that. Alright, so here's FlightGear, and let's see. We are going to fly from Oslo, or like we are going to take off from the Gardermoen airport in Oslo, and we're gonna like fly over Oslo and then try to land at another airport once we kind of fly over the city. That's what I'm gonna do. So let's see, let me choose the runway. Let's choose 19 right, and then we're gonna just like take off in this direction and fly towards the city, or like over the city. Okay, so yeah, this should work. So let's go. I guess we're gonna fly at night time, because it basically takes the real world time and weather and puts that into the simulation. So that's kind of cool. So I'm gonna take off from here, then fly over the city, and then try to land over here. This is a difficult airport to land because there's no like there are no like runway lights even, so I'm not sure if I'll succeed. And I'm also pretty new to FlightGear overall, so you know, we'll see what happens, I guess. But the point is to just like demonstrate the capabilities of this laptop and its graphics card. So we can just like also go to the about section here, and we can see that it's running on NVIDIA. This is the model of the graphics card that it's running on right now. And okay, let's start the aircraft. I believe I forgot to set takeoff flaps, but since I'm in the air right now, I guess it's all good. So, okay, we're flying. I might engage the autopilot to just help me out here a little bit. And so I'm gonna climb to like 2,000 feet, and I'll engage auto throttle as well, so that it maintains the speed. So as you can see, things are rendering pretty well. I'm wondering if I should perhaps change the kind of the time of the day so that we can see sort of like farther into the distance. But yeah, let's try this first, and maybe then I'll show you how it looks, sort of like if I change the time of the day to daylight. So let me see, let me change back to the cockpit view. And okay, so I'll just go ahead and pick this heading of 200 degrees. And I think I should climb a bit higher there because there are some high hills that we might be approaching. Actually, you know what? Let me change the time of the day because it's way too dark, and even though it's nice for my like for practicing to fly the airplane, but it's probably gonna give you a better idea of the capabilities of this laptop if I change the time to, let's go like dawn. As you can see, the sky starts moving, so like the sky is also simulated properly. And there are those hills that I've been talking about. So hope we have enough altitude there. Looks like we're good. So right now you can probably hear a bit of noise coming from my laptop, and that is like fans starting to spool up, and because I'm running something graphics heavy. So, you know, when you're running something relatively like processor or graphics and heavy, then it tends to get fairly noisy. But if you use noise cancelling headphones like I'm using right now, it's not a big deal. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the only way around it is to use like water cooling that actually this laptop supports as well, but you have to buy like a device. It is called Tuxedo OS. You can take a look at on their website and see what it's like, if that's something that you might be interested in. So that would cut down on the noise levels. But let me turn a little bit here. So yeah, maybe a bit to the left. Maybe like for demonstration purposes, I'll switch the time again now, like to morning, or so that it's more like daylight. Let's see, time. Let's go morning, so that we get more sun, more light, and we can see farther into the distance. And you can see like how the clouds start rendering. So, okay, I wanted to land or try to land over here. I should probably start thinking about that doing that right now. So maybe like start turning towards that airport and maybe lose some altitude as well and some speed while we're at it. So that we go. I'm not going too fast. I'm 5 miles away from the airport. It's always really hard to see that runway, but man, there it is. Okay. I'll actually probably disengage the autopilot for a second and try to align myself better with that runway. Maybe descend a little bit. I'm still learning to fly these planes, so I might not be able to land, but that's just how it goes. Let's take some flaps. Slow down a little bit. Okay, so I'm sort of aligned. Let me close this map because I see everything already. Oh man, okay. So alright, so the autopilot just disengaged because I'm quite low. Like it disengages at 300 feet above the ground. And I'm not aligned anymore. Oh, for God's sake. Okay. This is not gonna be pretty, but okay. Well, that was satisfactory. Let me shut the plane down. So yeah, there we go. So this is FlightGear. Hope this demo gave you some idea of what the graphics card capabilities are like, and yeah, I mean, I really enjoy this simulator, and it requires quite a lot of graphics to power to like render. You know, it has something that's called atmospheric light scattering, and it simulates how the light behaves in the real world, and so you know, to render the clouds and the weather and it does this really well, and so it's running without any lags, and yeah, I'm content with it. It's a good yeah. So the laptop does what you would expect it to do when it comes to that. So yeah, this is gonna be it for this review. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video valuable, and I hope that some of the things I said will help you in deciding whether or not to purchase this laptop, if that's something that you're considering. Yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment and ask me, and I'll do my best to help you out as far as my knowledge allows me. And yeah, and also, like, if you have any questions sort of like that you think would be good to ask to the community, like I said, visit Tuxedo Computers subreddit, and you can ask things there, and it can really help you out, and it can clarify a lot of things that you might be wondering about, or maybe you can send them in the email directly and ask any questions that you might have about their computers. So yeah, this is gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.